The first 6 picks on CBS Sports ADP. This factors in all different types of formats. So non-PPR, half full, all that stuff. Jonathan Taylor, Derrick Henry, Austin Eckler, Christian McCaffrey, running back, Kupp, and Dalvin Cook. Taylor, Henry, Eckler, McCaffrey, Cooper Kupp, and Dalvin Cook. Dave, your thoughts on the first 6 picks, 5 running backs, and Cooper Kupp 5th overall.
Is it normal for Christian McCaffrey to have an ADP of 5? Are we seeing that anywhere else besides
all you, Dave? That is all you.
I would take him. I would love to take him at 5. I never get the chance.
That's where you have him ranked, right?
I've got him 4th. So in full PPR, I have him 4th. I would totally sign off on this. I think McCaffrey's worth that type of risk. If Taylor and Henry and Eckler are off the board, I think they're safer. That's why I would take them out of Christian McCaffrey. You guys have done a great job all month long explaining what that grand upside is for McCaffrey. Anybody who can remember his 2019 season can also recall what his upside is. But I'm not on board with taking him ahead of Taylor, Henry, and Eckler.
Overall, though, 5 running backs, 1 wide receiver with the first 6 picks in whatever order you want to take them. That looks pretty good, right?
It's normally what you'll see.
Yeah, I think over time I've seen a little bit more Jefferson over Kupp because of the Stafford injury. And I don't know. I don't want to take like 2 or 3 leagues that people have told me about and make this, representative of the thousands of leagues that are happening. But I'm seeing a lot of McCaffrey at number 1.
Yeah, and I think like Jefferson's over Cook on both ESPN and Yahoo. So
over
Jefferson over Cook, I think, is more common in leagues where there's more PPR leagues, I think.
They are back-to-back on Fantasy Pros ADP, and Jefferson is ahead of Cook in the top 6. Top 6 on Fantasy Pros is Taylor 1, CMC 2, then Eckler, not Aukler. What the hell was that? Derrick Henry 4th, and then the 2 receivers.
Eston Aukler, star.
Eston Aukler.
All right, so let
me interview him next time. I'd be great at it.
And by the way, Heath is going to sprinkle in some tidbits on ESPN and Yahoo drafting. Heath, you want to guess my favorite ESPN value?
Your favorite ESPN value?
I drafted it
Saquon
every
Barkley.
league. No, Cortland Sutton.
Oh.
He's going after Jerry Jeudy. He's like 48th overall on Yahoo, and I think he's in the 50s on ESPN. All right, so
that's juicy.
7 through 12, I know. Najee Harris, Josh Allen, we would never do. Joe Mixon, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, and Alvin Kamara. Jamie, it's Najee Harris, Josh Allen, Joe Mixon, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, and Alvin Kamara.
Love Kamara's value. I mean, as long as there's no suspension, he's going to be awesome. And, I think we're going to look back and say we should have drafted him in the middle of the first round, maybe instead of the back end of the first round or the second round. Understandably why we did, especially early in drafts. But I think if you're drafting this weekend, I would take him over all those running backs.
Over who?
Except Dalvin.
You take him over Mixon and Najee?
I would.
Ooh, anyone else on that? Kamara over Mixon and Najee?
I would take him over Najee for sure. And he's actually pick 18 or 19 on Yahoo at RB11.
Schneier and I were talking last night, and I know you're going to hear it tomorrow, but I think it would be a good topic for you guys here. He asked me why I took Aaron Jones over Leonard Fournette in the Draftathon draft. I couldn't come up with a good answer. Why isn't Leonard?
Yeah, there isn't one.
Why isn't Leonard Fournette a first-round pick after what he did last year?
You could make the
borderline guy.
You could make the case in non-PPR as a borderline guy, I think, and he catches the ball a decent amount too.
Yeah, I think the PPR case. I think he's going to catch a ton of.
There's too many other receivers that I think kind of get the nod ahead of him. I think Devontae and Tyreek Hill should get the nod ahead of Fournette in full PPR.
I thought for a second you meant receivers on the Bucs. Gotcha.
Oh no. He's the first Bucs player off the board.
No, I thought you meant his pass catching role on the Bucs.
No, I was talking about fantasy draft.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Good. All right, so that's round 1. Round 1 has Josh Allen, who we're not taking until the 3rd round, which means we're probably not getting Josh Allen in a lot of leagues, but so be it. Kelsey's the first pick of round 2. We'll get to that in a second, but just to recap round 1, it's mostly running backs. There are those 3 wide receivers, Cooper Kupp, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, and Josh Allen. Let's get our next 6 picks here as we go into round 2. Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes back to back. Every time a quarterback comes up, we're really just going to probably discuss where they are among quarterbacks instead of where they are, in the draft, because it's just going to be too early for us. Kelce, Mahomes, Nick Chubb, a guy that has much different value depending on the format. Devontae Adams, Stephon Diggs, and Aaron Jones. Heath, it's Kelce, Mahomes, Chubb, Adams, Diggs, Aaron Jones. That's the first 6 picks of round 2.
Yeah, and the only 2 players that I'm really taking at their CBS ADP here are Kelce and Aaron Jones. I think this is even with a mix of non-PPR and half PPR leagues, I think this is way too early for Nick Chubb. I'm not taking him until round 3 in full PPR and late round. I wouldn't take him this high in non-PPR.
Really? Why not?
I mean, maybe I'm more concerned about how bad that offense is going to be for the first 3 months of the season.
Okay. But I thought you would take Adams and Diggs, 16, 17.
Just a couple spots behind that. I don't have them quite that high. This is more DJ Moore range.
Okay, so you do like Kelce and Jones. You do like Kelce and Jones in this range. A lot of people are going to be taking Adams and Diggs here for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Chubb will be a wild card, and Mahomes will be just depending on how your league drafts quarterbacks.
But I think Mahomes should not be the second quarterback off the board.
It should be.
And I think in a lot of home leagues, you will see Mahomes as the second quarterback off the board. I would take Justin Herbert for sure. And if it's 4 points for a passing touchdown, I'll take Lamar Jackson over Mahomes. And I'll tell you one other thing. If it comes out that J.K. Dobbins isn't going to be ready till like November, that's an easy call to take Lamar over Mahomes then.
That a possibility? Because that would be very bad for Adam's teams.
November?
I'm not. There's no report. I'm just saying that what if that happened? That's what it would take for Lamar to fully jump, maybe even sooner than November. But it sounds like he's going to be ready to go sooner than that. And once he's back to full strength, obviously that impacts Lamar's numbers a little bit. That's why I would still take Mahomes over Lamar in 6 point per passing touchdown leagues. I am not trying to speak it into existence. By the way,
don't do it.
That J.K. Dobbins is going to be back that late. No,
I'm just gonna say, like, I'm not as sure that the Ravens going more run heavy is bad for Lamar Jackson, because the year that he won the MVP, they threw the ball like 400 times and ran it almost 600.
He also had 36 touchdowns, and I don't think that's going to be replicated.
I don't.
Passing touchdowns.
Yeah, I don't know. I hope it is, but I would still take Mahomes and Herbert over Lamar. But it's basically like I'm taking Lamar every time because he falls further, and they're almost tied in my projections. He has just as much upside as anybody.
Yeah, and he was better in the second half of the 2020 season when they started running the ball a lot more and his pass attempts went down. So we have seen that correlation. Better fantasy production when he's thrown less, which is kind of weird, but he's capable of succeeding in any type of environment. All right, second half of round 2, Jamie. Let's take a look at the next 6 picks after Aaron Jones. It's Fournette, Deebo Samuel, Justin Herbert, Saquon Barkley, DeAndre Swift, and James Conner. So it's still pretty running back heavy. You got Deebo and Herbert in there, and the other 4 picks in the second half of round 2 are Fournette, Barkley, Swift, and Conner. What do you think?
Too soon for Herbert and too soon for Deebo.
But you also have guys like Mark Andrews, CeeDee Lamb, Tyreek Hill that are falling into the 3rd round in CBS ADP. And I don't think it's going to be the case in PPR leagues. I think they're going to go ahead of the running backs. But I don't know. What do you make of it? Like, if you had an early pick and you took a running back, who do you like better in the second round? Would you take Barkley or Fournette or Swift or Conner? Or would you take CeeDee Lamb or Tyreek Hill or whoever else you have, Pittman, whatever it might be?
I would take Lamb. I would take Tyreek Hill. I would take Pittman all over Deebo Samuel. And I would certainly consider going running back with those guys that are available. If you tell me that Barkley, Fournette, Diggs, Aaron Jones, all in the middle to the end of round 2, I'm excited about that.